What's going on, YouTube? I think my time addressing black women is coming to an end here on YouTube. When I first started YouTube, I watched a lot of videos. A lot. I still remember Sergeant Willie Pete's original account. Captain Solo, Soul and Black. You know, those were the guys that I first started watching, and there was a lot of other related videos that I got to, you know, on the side little bars, related videos, because they had similar tags. And I watched a lot. And I realized that I wanted to put my input on because I had positive relationships with black women. I realized that I didn't have some of the same problems. Now, there were similar problems, but I didn't have some of the problems in terms of what I liked versus what I didn't like. Issues with weight, issues with, you know, dealing with hood queens and baby mamas. That was all around me, but I was around other positive black women. I realized that a lot of these men were upset because they didn't even have some of the black women that were around them that I had, in terms of how I grew up and where I went to school. You have to factor I'm from Southern California, and life here is a little bit different than where, you know, how it is down south or even in the East Coast. It takes a little bit of money to live out here, so there's different standards. There's different ways of life out here, and we're exposed to different cultures. So there's a lot of factors that make Southern California, to me, unique. And I came on here because I wanted to share those experiences, and I knew that if I wanted to, you know, stay on and not necessarily be changing my account names every couple of days, I had to come at YouTube and the black community with a different perspective. Like I've said, you've never heard me call a woman a bitch. You've never heard me use any sort of lingo or vocabulary that somehow dehumanized or belittled black women. And I didn't do that because I'm trying to win points. I can care less. I didn't do it because I wanted the favor of black women. I wanted people to listen, and I wanted people to not use a typical, I don't like the way you're talking. Right? If you look at Sergeant Willie Pete, most people always said they agreed with his points or they understood where he was coming from. They always said they had a problem with his delivery. So most of the time it wasn't even his content, it was his delivery. And I'm like, well, you know what, my personality is a little bit different from his. Maybe if I'm collected and I refrain from using certain words and I refrain from, you know, not raising my voice, we can get some dialogue going where people just can't use small time excuses to kind of negate what's going on. And maybe I should try to talk about different topics and subjects to kind of open up to the debate and to let people know that it's more than just black woman bashing, that there's other issues that we have that are related to the overall problem. But to be real, in the year I've been on here, you know, there's been a couple of, you know, black women who understand where I'm coming from, but there's a lot who haven't and still try to, you know, fit me in a category where they feel like I'm bashing. And I've done a lot of videos and they never seem to come on the ones where I'm talking about different stuff. I even did a video on when should productive black couples have children, right? How do we balance that situation? None of these black women came to that video. The video I did on Hispanic women or Latin women, I get people leaving me essays about I used the wrong vocabulary term, blah, 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 and people who are talking about physical stuff, and I'm like, I didn't even touch the issue. Right? You know, what's upsetting is a lot of black women don't understand the urgency of what's going on. I'm all for black men leading, but even if we stepped it up, right, time is still working against us. I have every faith in black men in terms of us being able to turn it on and do what we need to do. You have to remember, our stay in America is still short on a time frame type of issue, right? Things didn't really start to look up for us to the 60s and 70s, in my opinion, until we could actually start to break down doors. That's only 40 years ago, right? So it's going to take some time, but we don't have the time. I'm looking at a 10-year time frame. We have issues that need to be addressed, and if they don't get addressed in that time frame, I don't know if it's reversible. Talk to any black scholar or prominent black figure and they'll probably agree with me. We're at a critical moment. So it's up to both sides, men and women, to really open up their eyes and really get at certain issues and not worry about who's right and who's wrong, but just to get things out there so we can become more conscious of what we're saying and what we're doing and how we're relating to each other and what we're giving off.